launch Operation Crew Cut. Unlike gangs, crew members tend to be younger, between the ages of 12 and 20, have no hierarchy and few rules.
Purely almost for the fun of it. You know, strictly I live on this block, he lives on that block, and as a result of that, we're in two different crews and we're going to fight.
Fighting that's led to about 40% of the shootings in the city. In March, a 39-year-old father was shot and killed on a crowded bus. Police say 14-year-old Kathon Anderson was trying to shoot a member of another crew and missed. He's now facing murder charges as an adult.
Nowadays, it's more crews than gangs. You don't see the Bloods and Crips killing each other like that no more.
Jamal Williams knows why crews have become so popular.
A crew to me is a family. They're going to be there for me like my parents was never there for me.
But someone else is now there for Williams. Kai Smith runs a gang diversion unit at Williams's high school in Brooklyn.
You get beat up every day until you join, or you get beat up every day because you don't join.
Much of the violence revolves around perceived insults, like looking at someone for too long, otherwise known as disrespects.
I asked them to list 5 ways on how their response to disrespect can hurt them now and in the future.
Williams says the program has helped him.
Showing me the discipline and the criteria that I need to go through to help me be a better person.
He remains in school and is on track to graduate.
Embattled Los Angeles Clippers owner Donald Sterling says he is not going to sell the basketball team. Sterling made the comments to sportscaster Jim Gray before NBA Commissioner Adam Silver laid out the punishment, calling on Sterling to sell the Clippers. Since hearing the ruling, Sterling's position has not changed. The lawyer and real estate mogul bought the Clippers for $12.5 billion in 1981. But now some analysts say he could get as much as $1 billion if he sold the team. Sterling has not made a public statement since the commissioner announced his judgment. And meantime, the NBA Owners Advisory and Finance Committee will hold a meeting today on whether or not Sterling should be forced out entirely and made to sell the team. For that to happen, 3/4 of the league's owners would have to support the plan. NBA Commissioner Silver says he's confident he'll be able to get the needed votes. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court rules police do not need a warrant to search a suspect's car. The court says an officer in Pennsylvania can search a car without a warrant if he or she has probable cause. The ruling changes the current state procedure where in most cases, a citizen could deny police from searching his or her car without a warrant. The court's decision is in line with federal and other states' laws. The case stems from a man who said police didn't have probable cause to search his car, which contained marijuana. A train carrying crude oil burst into flames after derailing in Lynchburg, Virginia. Sarah Tom says witness reactions.
A U.S. freight train carrying crude oil derailed and burst into flames close to the city center of Lynchburg in Virginia state. 3 tanker cars carrying oil fell down an embankment, and more than a dozen cars were involved in the collision. Hundreds of people have been evacuated from buildings, but no injuries have been reported. Oil has been flowing into the James River, which flows into Chesapeake Bay.
We heard this noise. We looked out the window where we're working at Shoemaker's Restaurant, and we saw a giant fireball. The trains were burning, and we had to evacuate the building.
I thought this wasn't going to be good. And as the flames grew, I stood and watched it for a little bit, took a couple pictures, and then realized that this is probably a dangerous situation, especially when there were so many tank cars. And then I watched as whatever fuel oil it was started down the river on fire.
This is the 6th derailment to have gone up in flames in North America since last July. This one was near office buildings, prompting environmentalists to call for stricter regulations on shipping crude oil by rail.
And a different train derails in Bowie, Maryland. This train was carrying 8,000 tons of coal. It rode off the tracks this morning but did not overturn. No one aboard the train was injured, and there was no immediate hazmat concern. And still to come on One American News, Thailand has been going through political turmoil and unrest since 2006. We'll tell you what's in store for the country's government next.
we stand united. Division is not an option. We're a nation of bootstrappers, of innovators, entrepreneurs, and leaders. People who stand up for what they believe in, who aren't afraid to fight for their cause. It's in our country's history. Ours is a place of dreams and families, freedom and equality. We're a nation of doers. No challenge is too great. Difficult takes a day. Impossible? Give us a week. This is our nation. We are America. Your nation, your news. One American News Network.
According to a report by the Malaysian Transportation Ministry, officials waited 4 hours before starting the search for Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 when it first went missing. The report also revealed the plane vanished off radar for 17 minutes before authorities noticed. The report does not explain what officials did during the 4-hour gap, other than contact authorities in Singapore, Hong Kong, and Cambodia. Malaysian authorities are not required to make the report public, but did so after heavy criticism for not making it available to family members of the passengers on that plane. According to a new report, the ongoing civil war in Syria is creating an unstable environment where terror groups can thrive. U.S. intelligence officials say an alarming number of Western Muslims are traveling to the war-torn country to link up with Islamic extremists. One America's Erick Stakelbeck reports from Washington, D.C.
The bloody civil war in Syria has claimed some 150,000 lives, but until now its effects have not been felt directly here in the West. However, that may be about to change. A new report out of Britain says that there are now up to 11,000 foreign fighters in Syria, and up to 2,800 are from Western countries. These are young Muslims from places like Britain, France, Germany, Sweden, Canada, and yes, the United States. We spoke today to Dr. Walid Phares about this new report. He's an advisor on terrorism to Congress and author of the book, The Lost Spring. He said that once these Western Muslims return from Syria to their home countries, all bets are off.
And this is a reminder of those jihadists who went to fight against the Soviet Union in Afghanistan. What was produced in Afghanistan? Al-Qaeda. I would call it Al-Qaeda 1. So what we are seeing right now, most likely, for Western perspective, is Al-Qaeda 2.
Now, U.S. intelligence officials said recently that at least 50 Americans have traveled to Syria and joined up with these terror groups. We've also seen American Muslims travel in recent years to al-Qaeda hotbeds like Pakistan, Yemen, and Somalia to join the jihads there. Phares says it's a growing problem that needs to be addressed.
In the United States, unlike in Great Britain, France, and Germany, there is this policy, probably of this administration, which denies the existence of an ideology. So if you begin with square one by saying there is no ideology, then you are not actually, able to counter this ideology. You cannot counter extremism if you don't define what extremism is.
The British and French governments are taking measures to discourage their citizens from traveling to Syria to link up with these groups, and the U.S. may not be far behind. A terror group in Syria recently released a video threatening attacks against America and Canada, and the speaker featured in the video had a North American accent and spoke in fluent English. Erick Stakelbeck, One American News, Washington.
A suicide car bomber in central Afghanistan kills at least 13 people. The dead include 6 police officers and 7 civilians.